Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about Dragonlance: Shadow of the Dragon Queen. And so, one of the things that's really exciting about Dragonlance: Shadow of the Dragon Queen, we're in Chapter 7, Siege of Calamon. The player characters have just witnessed Bellafion. He is he's a blue ancient dragon, and he attempted to raise not the city of lost names. One of the things is the city of lost names is shattered in multiple parts across the northern wastes of Ansalon. Okay, and basically, really shattered across the northern wastes of Ansalon, right? So, which is the main continent on one of the main continents on Krynn, right? So you have all this going on, and basically Bellafion attempted to raise just one section of fallen material of the lost city, and he tried to use the threshold of the heavens, right, which is like this main helm. And what he was able to do is actually the whole section that he tried to lift just broke apart. Thousands of people died, and the only thing that came up was the bastion of Takesis, this flying citadel, and Bellafion wasn't even the one who, his efforts brought that into the sky, but he ends up not even being the one to fly that, right? But at this point, a flying citadel, the bastion of Takesis, is in the air, and the Red Dragon army is literally marching beneath it, okay? And so the player characters are up in the northern wastelands. What did they accomplish up there? They figured out what was going on. They fully know the plans of the Red Dragon army, okay? And so basically the Red Dragon army plan was to raise these flying city platforms, multiple or a larger one. What they got was the flying citadel, right? So they were able to lift the flying citadel. And now this flying citadel is serving as a major weapons platform, and the Red Dragon army is literally underneath it. The player characters understand that Lord Soth is the major threat. He controls the Catechism flames, which are being used to keep the flying citadel up in the air. And the player characters realize that essentially the flying citadel and the Red Dragon army itself are marching toward Calamon, and this is the real fight. Calamon is about to be split. It's about, essentially, the Flying Citadel and the Red Dragon army are going to destroy Calamon. They're just absolutely going to reap it to the ground. And this is a major city in Solamnia, and if this falls, it will really mean there's almost a certain doom for Solamnia itself. But if they can help Calamon hold on, Calamon then becomes the city that lived, right? And it gives hope across all of Solamnia, right? And it actually helps, the Knights of Solamnia start to restore their names, because Knight in Training Darrett is doing a great job of helping them, right? And actually, Benthic is the Knight of Solamnia that he serves under, and she's like kind of been off board for a little while. And you think that she's pushing back the Red Dragon army in other areas, right? So all this is going on, and the player characters reach a point where they are now in the northern waste. They know what's coming toward Calamon, and they have to hurry back to Calamon, right? Because fortunately, the Flying Citadel is slow, right? So what they do is they rush back to where their ships are on the edge of the northern waste. They're going to have to get in their ship and go from Wrecker's Edge back to Calamon, across Calamon Bay, and then guide to the harbor beacons in the two matching harbor beacons in Calamon, right? In Calamon itself, right? So they're going to have to ride these ships back, right? So they're on their way through the northern wastes. They come across a Dragonnel that is fighting to free itself from the Red Dragon army forces, and they come across the Red Dragon army forces trying to recapture a Dragonnel, right? They very much lion with a thorn in its paw story. The player characters free this Dragonnel. The Dragonnel actually flies away, but it's freed, right? And so this is just like one fight that the player characters get into on their way back to the ships, and the ships are going to take them from Wrecker's Edge at the northern at the edge of the northern wastes, and then take that back across Calamon Bay to Calamon, right? Which they do. They get all the way back to Calamon, and so they get there. They're able to get all the way back to Calamon, and then what they do once they're able to arrive back in Calamon, they report to the council chambers. Now, this is the same council chambers where everybody was killed, right, by Caradoc and by Lord Sarlemere, right? So at this point, they go to the council chambers. Everything's been cleaned up in Calamon, and this is kind of a big statement by F. Wesley Snyder. He's essentially saying, hey, government works, right? Like, if you have these big institutions, they should be able to clean up and reset. And that's exactly what's happened in Calamon, right? So Marshal Ventry is there. She's leading the Calamon forces, the Calamon soldiers, the city soldiers, right? And Lord Baccharis from Vogler is still there, right? And then finally, Governor Miot, who was killed by Caradoc, is now been replaced by Governor Thren, a female governor, right? And so now there's a female governor of Calamon, female governor in Calamon, Marshal Ventry's in place, and Lord Baccharis are in leadership, right? The player characters now simply give a report, and they explain everything that's going on to Governor Thren, Lord Baccharis, whose son, Baccharis the Younger, is still missing and presumed dead from when Baccharis led those forces to Steel Spring, okay? So now at this point, they give a report to Governor Thren, they give a report to Marshal Ventry, and they give a report to Lord Baccharis. It's also interesting that, like, one of the things this book does as well, this D&D canon hardback, is it establishes how powerful being a noble is. He's a lord, right? This is a really big deal. Like, people really give deference, and there's nothing like it in America. In America, we just don't have a noble family in the way that you would have seen in these times. So Lord Baccharis is a complete jerk, right? But he gets deference, and he gets a seat on the council, right? Because he's a lord, right? And so it's kind of interesting. So they give a report, and essentially where we end with this video is the player characters have gone to the Northern Wastes. They've discovered all the plans of Lord Soth and the Red Dragon army, right? And they know the doom that is coming for Calamon, and they're able to report it to the Council of Calamon. This is a huge accomplishment, and you're looking at 10th level characters at this point. It's really incredible just to see everything that these player characters are able to accomplish. I am just absolutely astounded with the quality of Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. Have you read it? Where are you at with this? I'm absolutely fascinated by it. I'd love every word you just heard is my humble opinion, but what's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.